The topic for today are sutures and suturing techniques. Now let's have a look at the goals of suturing. They provide wound edge approximation, it provides adequate tension, maintains hemostasis, aids in wound healing, avoids wound infection, and produces aesthetically pleasing scars by approximating the skin edges. Now, the types of sutures are classified according to source. We have natural, synthetic, and metallic. According to structure, we have monofilament and multifilament. According to absorbability, we have absorbable and non-absorbable, and according to coating, we have coated and uncoated. The natural ones are further classified as absorbable and non-absorbable. We have catgut, chromic catgut, and collagen in absorbable ones, and silk, linen, and cotton in the non-absorbable ones. In synthetic, the absorbable ones are polyglycolic acid, polylactic acid, and polylactin, that is Vicryl, and the non-absorbable ones we have nylon, polypropylene, polyesters, and polyethylene. In metallic, we have stainless steel, silver, gold, and aluminium. Monofilament ones, we have catgut, chromic catgut, and Vicryl, which are absorbable, and polypropylene, polyester, and nylon as non-absorbable ones. Multifilament, Vicryl, and polyglycolic acids are absorbable one, and silk, cotton, and linen are non-absorbable ones. Let's have a look at the comparison between monofilament and multifilament. A comparison between absorbable and non-absorbable ones. Now this is the use of different sizes. The ideal properties of sutures that it should be easy to handle, it should be predictable behavior in tissues, it should have predictable tensile strength, it should be sterile, it should have secure knotting abilities, it should have minimal tissue reaction, and it should be non-allergenic, non-carcinogenic, and non-shrinking. This is our overall view of sutures. Now let's look at the material that we need while suturing. We need a needle holder, suture needle, suture material, and tissue holding forceps. Now the needle holder should be held with the thumb and ring finger to the rings and with the index finger along the length of the needle holder to provide stability and control. The parts of the needle holder are the working tip, the hinge joint, the shank, the catch mechanism, and the grip area. The parts of the suture needle, you have the tip, the body, and the eye. Types of needle, according to the cutting edge, we have round body, the cutting body, which is the conventional and the reverse cutting, and according to its tip, triangular, round, or blunt. According to shape, we have the straight, curved. According to eye, we have eyed needle and eyeless needle. The principles of suturing, the needle should be grasped approximately 1/3 of the distance from the eye and 2/3 from the point. The needle should pierce the tissue perpendicular to its surface. The needle should be placed equidistant from the incision line. The depth of penetration should be equal on both sides of the incision. The needle should always pass from movable tissue to fixed tissue, from the thinner to the thicker one, and from the deeper tissue to the superficial ones. The tissue should never be closed under tension. The tissue holding forceps are used to hold and move tissues during surgical procedures. Let's have a look at the different types of suturing techniques. We have interrupted suture, continuous suture, mattress suture, figure of 8 suture, and subcuticular suture. Interrupted sutures are used for the closure of wound after a single tooth extraction, third molar extraction, and biopsies. The advantages and disadvantages. The advantages are that it is simple and it is performed in urgent situations and it is easy to remove, whereas the disadvantages are it fails to achieve closure with surfaces to be in contact and it provides lesser healing. Now let's have a look at the technique. The suture needle is held with the needle holder position at least 1/3 of the length of the suture away from the end of the suture attachment. A bite of skin is taken at the landmark site. The suture needle is advanced to the depth of the wound margin and then out to the wound opening. The needle is then inserted via the depth of the wound and rotated up to the opposite skin margin and the landmark site for approximation of the wound. Continuous suture are of 3 types: simple locking and continuous over and over. Simple continuous is used for approximating wounds with minimal tension. It is a rapid technique for closure and it provides even distribution of tension over the suture line. It can be used in swollen tissues. It shouldn't be used in areas of existing tension. It's not possible to free a few sutures at a time, and if one suture breaks, it affects the whole closure. And the technique is similar to simple continuous suture in the beginning. The needle is then reinserted in a continuous fashion such that the suture passes perpendicular to the incision line. The suture is ended by passing a square knot over the untightened end of the suture. Locking continuous suture are used for long edentulous areas and tuberosities in retromolar areas. The advantages: it avoids the multiple knots of interrupted sutures. At first, a single interrupted suture is used to make a tie. The needle is next inserted to the underlying surface of the flap. The needle is then passed through the remaining loop of the suture and the suture is pulled tightly, thus locking it. This procedure is continued until the final suture is tied off at the terminal end. Continuous over and over. It is initially a simple interrupted suture which is placed and the needle is then reinserted in a continuous fashion such that the suture passes perpendicular to the incision line below and obliquely above. The suture is ended by passing a knot over the untightened end of the suture. It provides a rapid technique for closure and distributes the tension uniformly over the suture line. It also offers a more watertight closure. Layer closure. Wounds that involve only the skin are often best closed with a single layer of interrupted suture. In case of deep wounds, tissue should be closed in layers to remove dead space and confer strength to the wound. The technique for layered closure involves closing the deeper tissues first with the continuous sutures and then closing the skin with interrupted sutures. Now, mattress sutures are of 2 types: horizontal and vertical. They are used for intraoral bone grafting and closure of extraction socket. Horizontal mattress suture provides a broad contact of the wound margin and it provides a watertight closure. If improperly used, there will occur bone necrosis and bone dehiscence due to the limited blood supply. And the technique is that the needle is passed from one edge of the incision to another and again from the latter edge to the first edge in a horizontal manner, and the knot is tied. The distance of the needle penetration from the incisal line and the depth penetration of the needle is the same for each entry point. The horizontal distance of the point of penetration on the same side of the flap differs. The surgical flap should be at least 8 mm from the flap edge. The procedure is continued till the entire length of the incision and the knot is tied. Vertical mattress suture is similar to horizontal mattress except that the depth of penetration, that is, when the needle is brought back from the second flap to the first, the depth of penetration is more superficial. It is used for closing deep wounds in the abdomen or hip. It decreases the dead space and provides increased strength, does not interfere with healing, and the approximation is difficult. Let's have an overall view of all the sutures we just read about. Figure of 8 sutures. It is commonly used for extraction circuit closure such as well-adaptation of gingival papilla around the tooth. It provides rapid closure, and due to its orientation it is difficult to remove, and it leaves a significant amount of suture thread inside the socket. Now the technique is that the needle is first inserted into the outer surface of the buccal flap and then the lingual flap. Suturing begins on the buccal surface 3 to mm from the tip of the papilla. The needle should be inserted in the same fashion at the horizontal distance and then both the ends tight. Subcuticular suture, usually a running stitch, but it can be interrupted, usually intradermal horizontal bites are taken, and it allows the suture to remain for a longer period of time without development of a cross-hatch scarring. It is used in simple and uncomplicated wounds. It provides excellent cosmetic closure and there is no stitch to remove. It is definitely more difficult to master and it doesn't hold in clean skin. The surgical knot has 3 components: a hoop, the knot, and the ears. The hoop is created by the knot itself, which is composed of a number of tight rows, and ears, which are the cut ends of the suture. The principles of knot tying. It's better to use the simplest knot that will prevent slippage. Tying the knot as small as possible and cutting the ends of the suture to minimize foreign body reaction. Avoid friction, avoid excessive tension. Tying sutures too tightly strangulates the tissues. Maintain traction at one end of the suture after the first loop is drawn. Placing the final throw as horizontally as possible to keep the knot flat, limiting extra throws to the knot as they don't add strength. The type of knots are a secure, surgeon's knot, and Granny's knot. The square knot, the first throw is placed in precise position for the knot using a double loop. The second throw is tied using horizontal tension. Additional 2 throws are desirable. Totally there should be 4 throws. It is best used for catgut, silk, cotton, and stainless steel. Now, surgeon's knot is formed by 2 throws on the first tie and 1 throw in the opposite direction on the second tie. It is recommended for tying polyester suture materials such as vicryl and nylon. Granny's knot. A tie in one direction followed by a tie in the same direction and a third tie in the opposite direction to square the knot and hold it permanently. It is best used in silk, chromic catgut, and plain catgut. All sutures and foreign bodies cause irritation to the sutures and hence have the potential to cause scar. Skin sutures are removed as soon as the tissue heals. Non-absorbable sutures are best removed from the face after a period of 5 to 6 days. Tissues such as the scalp may require longer periods, such as 7 to 10 days. Principles of suture removal. A suture area should be cleaned first with normal saline. The suture is grasped with a non-tooth dissecting forceps and lifted above the epithelial surface. Scissors are then passed through one loop and then transected close to the surface to avoid dragging contaminated suture materials to tissues. The suture is then pulled towards the incision line to prevent dehiscence. If the suture is entrapped in the scab, application of hydrogen peroxide and normal saline is necessary. If any place is left, it may cause infections. Reasons for failure of sutures are breakage, cutouts, knot slips, extruded sutures, resorts too rapidly, or removed too easily. Complications of sutures are left for many days are suture abscess, scar, and dermoid cyst. The alternatives to sutures are tissue adhesives, tape. Disadvantages are that these substances are not an absolute alternative to mechanical means and it causes more tissue reactions.